Don't be a waste of an executive's time. They know more than you think that they know. They read, they prepare. They're usually dreading coming to these meetings because people like to talk and have airtime in front of executives. Don't be that person. Set the stage and then get to the point first.
Welcome to Management Material. My name is Catherine Vanderlaan. I started my career at the bottom as an assistant and worked my way up to become the boss's boss in 8 years. And man, I love management. If there's anything I've learned, it's that what got you to where you are now won't get you to where you want to be.
Welcome to Management Material, episode 47. Welcome back, guys. It's been a little bit. It's been a minute. At the end of February, I released episode 46, but now it is September. We're in September. I took a pretty large break. First, I will say the break was planned, but it was planned for only a month, and it's been a little bit longer than that. I planned a break because I was so focused on one thing for Saver Street, creating that course, Get Out of Debt for Good. And it's finished. It was finished by about mid-June. But by the end of April, my family and I realized that we were going to be moving our little family from Boston, Massachusetts to Southern California. We took a big change, a big trip to get to Southern California, and we're there now. We've settled in. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking with us. Sometimes life throws us curveballs and we just have to run with it. That is another management technique, but that's not what we're talking about today. That'll be a future episode of running with it when life gets tough. Maybe another one about prioritization. Anyway, today we are talking about communicating with executives. Point first, explanation later. This is something that I've been talking to with one of my career coaching clients, how to communicate with executives. I'm really excited to talk about communicating with executives today because learning how to communicate in a different way with senior leaders changed my entire career. My entire career. When senior leaders like talking to you, it gives you a giant hand up to management and beyond. Don't give me that look, guys. Don't give me that look. That's just how the world works. That it's true. If senior leaders cannot understand what you're saying, they're not going to want to talk to you. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about communicating with executives. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that presentation and relationship building is half the battle toward a management career. Anyway, let's get to it. At one point in my career, I started giving presentations to senior management, GMs, general managers, SVPs, senior vice presidents, and occasionally our chief product officer. I was in a position to be in the same room with people who are making decisions that I hoped to make one day. And well, it was a little intimidating. When I first started giving those presentations, I would present my data, my decision-making process, the whole story before getting to the options or the potential options for how we could move forward. I thought, okay, this is how I made the decision. This is how they want to hear my presentation. This is how they want to make the decision. And well, that wasn't true. These, just so you get the full context, these were usually strategy presentations. And I thought the leaders needed to know basically everything I knew before they could help make an informed decision. Well, I was wrong. and I'm happy to tell you that I was wrong. And when I became a manager, I saw this happening over and over. I sat in dozens, if not more, strategy presentations, and I saw almost everyone presenting in this way to senior leaders. And then I would stay back and I'd hear the senior leaders talk about it. And they were so annoyed. They were so annoyed that they put on training sessions on how to present your strategy. They picked people out just to do communication training. They were so annoyed and so mad that their time was being wasted. So, okay, back up. After a few months of me doing this, falling into this same trap, and it was actually very frustrated executives. Some of these meetings ended so poorly that I I locked myself in the bathroom and cried because I was so confused. I didn't understand why it didn't go well. Anyway, my boss took me aside and he explained that executives think a little differently than someone on the ground. So I was on the ground, I was meeting with customers, I was gathering the data and really, really, really into it. Okay. I was into my job. I was into the data, the details, and the larger picture. Executives are a little bit of a different, I won't say a different breed, because they can be you and me just with a little bit of training, but they see things differently. They do a lot of homework usually they will do their homework. And so they're already caught up on the high points of the strategy. They know or they don't need to know all of the details. If they want to know, they can ask. So they think, let's just get to the point first. My boss was describing what I now call point first presentations. I had been giving explanation first presentations because that's how I think. That's how I think and how most people think. But my senior leaders wanted point first presentations. You see, if you think about it from their perspective, senior leaders only have so much time and they have a massive amount of data that they store in their brains and in their systems. They're looking at your presentation from a whole different perspective from the holistic view of the company. They're looking at everything within their section of the company, everything. Their jobs are all about making the most profitable decisions for the company. They might get a little political too. So they might be trying to strengthen their position within the company. But you and I both know from this podcast and from experience, the executives who are political, who think about their careers first instead of the company first, don't make the best leaders. So let's talk about the senior executives. We're kind of talking about the senior executives and how they look at the company, not about how you should be looking at the company, but how they are. Okay. How they are and what you want to grow into are two different things. Anyway, a senior executive's role is about making the most profitable decisions for the company. That's it, full stop. So when they're hearing your presentation, they might already know a lot of what you're saying, or they just don't care. The point is, they don't have time to waste on listening to information that won't change their decisions. From their perspective, they want to know your punchline first. You know, that thesis statement that you write or you learn to write when you were writing a 5 paragraph essay. They want to know that. They want to know your punchline first. And then they want to get the opportunity to ask questions. They want to know what you think is the best course of action, then fill in the details they need to know. They got to their position. They got to their positions because they're smart and can fill in the details. These are smart people. They're not stupid. I don't know what kind of rhetoric or what kind of thing that you're being told at your company. Executives are not stupid people. They might behave that way every once in a while. And if you think about the executive of executives, like the presidents that we've had, we might think that they behave in stupid ways every once in a while, or maybe more than that, but they're not actually stupid people. They didn't get to where they are because they're stupid people. They're smart in all different ways. They know the executives that you present to, they know the business. They know customer behavior. That is their job. They usually know a good deal of what you're about to present. So get to the point first. Don't waste their time. All right, back to the story. This is back to the story of me crying in the bathroom, right? And I'm hoping that by listening to this podcast, you're not going to have that happen to you. So it took some time for me to put all of this into practice, this point first presentation. But I was so used to filling in the details first. I didn't understand that executives do read usually, and some very, very quickly. So I knew they knew the pertinent information already. They knew what I was about to present. They got the deck beforehand. I didn't realize how busy their days were and how important it was to get to the point first. But I started anyway because my boss told me to. He said, look, it's not working. Try this instead. So I did it. I did it because I'm coachable and I like to not cry. I was frustrated with having terrible meetings, and they were frustrated because they were wasting their time on me. Let that sink in. The executives were frustrated with my presentations and my strategy meetings because they were wasting time on me. You don't want to be a waste of time. If you're a waste of an executive's time, they're not going to give you that time anymore. You want them to want to be with you. And if you are here to be a manager or to climb up the career ladder and be a leader that people want to follow, well, you want to be a leader that these executives might want to follow someday. So don't be a waste of their time. I took my boss's advice and I got to the point first. In the next strategy meeting, I started off with, here's the portfolio. I set the stage in about a minute. Let's just remember what we're all here for. And here's what I think we should do. Does anyone have questions? That was it. That was basically my whole presentation. And smiles lit up the room. People came and said, great. Well, we met with you 6 months ago. I don't think much has changed, has it? I read your deck. I read the strategy. I see what you think we should do. Why aren't you going in this direction? And so we talked about that. We talked about why. And I was open, transparent, honest. We tried that for a year. It has not been working. And here's what we found out. So I walked them through what happened. And at the end of the presentation, they understood, all right, well, I'm going to give you more money than you asked for to go in the direction that you want to go. Thank you for not being a waste of our time. They didn't say that last bit, the thank you for not being a waste of our time, but I felt it. I felt it and I could see it in their faces. Okay, here's the bottom line. Don't be a waste of an executive's time. They know more than you think that they know. They read, they prepare. They're usually dreading coming to these meetings because people like to talk and have airtime in front of executives. Don't be that person. Set the stage and then get to the point first. You have all of your material. You know your strategy or what you're trying to present. You know your data points. You've done the heavy lifting. You've done the work. Put it all in your presentation or your document or however your company does things. But then when you're in front of an executive, set the stage for a minute, just a minute. 1 minute. And then say, this is where I think we should go. Do you have any questions? Or what are your questions? I would love to answer them. That's it. All right, guys. I am excited to be back. I am excited for management material to restart. The next episode is going to be about leading a hybrid or remote team, how to become a leader people want to follow when you're part of a hybrid or remote team, and specifically about running effective and inclusive meetings. Okay, I will talk to you soon. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited you're back. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Management Material. If you like what you're listening to, please rate us on iTunes. I track those ratings like I tracked my GPA in college. And let me know what else you want to hear about. I'm an open book. I can't wait to see you in the next episode.